Hey, welcome to Movies That Move We. My name is Don.
And I'm Nikay.
Yep. Spelled like Nike, but
Yeah,
not like the shoe. Yeah,
that's right.
Nikay.
And
Okay.
totally different
All
meaning.
right.
We'll talk about that another time.
We surely can. All right. So we're here to talk about movies. What we do is we talk about movies that are black films, movies that have strong black characters, and sometimes movies that are, we say, like black adjacent. We'll put it that way. Today, what are we going to be discussing, Nikay?
We are talking about Harlem Nights.
The Great Harlem Nights, 1989.
Mhm.
1989's Harlem Nights, which is so far, as of the time that we're filming this video, which is 2021,
Mhm.
it's the only time that Eddie Murphy has gone on record as the director. Yeah, now he's actually helmed some other things. He's produced a whole lot of stuff, but this is the only time that he directed, which, and we'll talk about why this movie is so great. We'll also talk about why some people who see it now for the first time, they may not feel as nostalgic as, say, I would or as Nikay would, but we'll discuss some of that.
Mhm.
So, Nikay, have you seen Harlem Nights?
A few times. And there's a
Yeah,
reason why Don asked that question.
I have to ask because Nikay is notorious for not well, I'll put it this way. If you check us out in our Clubhouse show, as well as on Facebook, which we do a live stream of that every week on Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. And what time is that on the left coast there, Nikki?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. on the left coast, better known as the West Coast. We have another host named Nicole, and Nicole repeatedly says that Nikay is going to get her black card taken. So
Always trying
we're
to
trying to
control.
save her from said takeage and all this other stuff. Anyway,
Always
but,
after.
so, yeah. So you have seen Harlem Nights. So let me
I
ask you this: what did you think of it?
Well, I enjoyed it for the reason a lot of our peers enjoy it. There's the classic moments. Vera getting
Uh-huh.
her toe, that back alley fight.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, dude
That
with
that
the
is that's
missing
classic.
teeth. You know, getting shot in the forehead. All of those things. Little Miss
Yeah.
Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, sunshine, and we'll talk about that in a moment too. We'll talk about how a lot of people broke out from
mm,
this film. A lot of people, or some people, were able to find a new spot in the spotlight where they hadn't been in a little while and stuff like that. Now, there are some people who, like I just mentioned, there are some people who've seen it for the first time not so long ago, and they can't understand why it's such a big deal. Why do people make so much of a fuss about this movie? What do you think, Nikay? Why do you think it's so great?
I think
Or do
it.
you think it's great? Maybe you don't.
You know what? I think the reason why some people who are seeing it for the first time don't get
Uh-huh.
it is
Mm-hmm.
because they don't understand the people who are in it. They don't understand the
Okay.
legacy of the people who are in it,
Okay. Okay.
the collective that was gathered, and they don't understand how big those names were in 1989.
Yes. Yes.
All they know is, all right, most of those people, they dead. They're
A lot
conscious.
of them are. A
Yeah.
lot of them are. Yeah. Yeah.
But
A lot of them
those
are.
were in a time where those people weren't getting the
Hmm.
money and
Yes.
the stage recognition.
Yes.
People will, we hear about the Chitlin circuit, and we think that that
Yes.
happened like
Indeed.
in
Yes.
the 40s and the 50s. It was still happening like
Hmm.
in the early 90s where
Hmm.
Black folks
Oh yeah.
weren't necessarily getting the same kind of recognition as white
Right.
comedians.
Right.
So these were,
Okay.
one big collective. So for us,
Yeah.
when we watch it, it's like, all right, that's one big classic family gathering there.
It's like a time capsule, actually.
It is. It really
Definitely.
is. And, like we were discussing earlier, we're not
Hmm.
sure if Eddie realized what he captured in that moment,
Yes.
but
Yes.
he really recorded legacy at
He
that
did.
moment.
It's
So
like lightning in
even
the bottle.
right, even now,
Yeah.
when we watch it with a
Hmm.
sense of awe because it's like, oh,
Yes.
this is
Yes.
this is
Yes.
a family album, you know,
Yes. Indeed.
that we get to
Indeed.
watch because
Hmm.
Della Reese is gone,
Hmm.
um,
Yep.
Red Fox is gone,
Red Fox is gone.
what's his
Yeah.
name? Bebe's kids.
Robin
Um,
Harris.
and I mean, he was at the start of he was really
He sure
coming into
was. He was
his
on the
when he
rise.
passed
Yeah.
away. So
Yep.
it's
Richard
like,
Pryor
oh,
is gone.
yeah,
Even Charlie Murphy, who that was
Robert.
his very first film appearance, he's
Hmm.
gone.
Yeah,
So he, you know, he really captured that lightning in a bottle.
right.
Um, so what ends up happening is shortly after the movie came out in 1989, Eddie Murphy saw the chemistry between Della Reese and Red Fox. If you remember, she played Vera. I'm an honest hoe, and all my hoes are what?
Uh-huh.
Honest. So, and then you had Benny, blind Benny, who didn't want to wear his glasses, who was portrayed by Red Fox. Now, a lot of us grew up with Red Fox uh, getting a watered down version of Red Fox when he played Fred Sanford. Now, Fred Sanford
And even that was
was
kind
a
of
raw
raw.
character. Huh? Yeah, and that was raw. And that's the funny thing. But he had a lot of folks on his show, like Skillet and Leroy. He had Pat Morita, who a lot of us remember from The
Hmm.
Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi,
Hmm.
Ronaldo Ray, and a lot of other comedians and character actors who ended up rising to fame and getting some notoriety. LaWanda Page, people who had been relegated to the Chitlin Circus, like you were talking about, and also they were known more for their party albums. Now, I don't know if your mom and your dad had party albums. Okay, probably
Hmm.
not.
Oh
Did
yeah,
they? Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
my
We had
dad had party
Mississippi
albums.
Russell.
Huh?
We had Mississippi. The devil told me to buy that dress. Oh yeah, we had those albums.
Man, listen, Dolomite and all that other stuff, Lord. But Dolomite is not in Harlem Nights. But yeah, my dad had some party albums. He used to hide them pretty good. My mom listened only to gospel music pretty much when I was coming up, so I didn't have to worry about party albums with her. But but yeah, so Red Fox and Della Reese, they showed such a great chemistry with all that bickering and all that fussing going back and forth that they ended up getting their own show, which Eddie Murphy actually helmed it.
Hmm.
And it was called what? The
The
Royal
Royal
Family.
Family.
The
Yep.
Royal Family. It only ran, I want to say, for one season. I could
One
be
season.
wrong about that.
It was one
Maybe they
season.
started the second season, but
No,
Red Fox died.
no,
Yeah, yeah, it
they
didn't get a
never did
second
the
season.
second season. They never
Okay.
did the second season.
Yeah. And Red Fox passed before, and it's funny because Red Fox on a family friendly show.
It
What?
was
And if you know,
awesome. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
awesome. And the thing is, there was this one line, and my parents would cringe every time I would use it because you know me, I push things to the limit.
Yeah.
He would take it to the edge. He would say "mother, father" instead of "mother." On the
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh man.
it was a
Yeah.
good show. I don't remember
Yeah.
a whole lot about it because it was
Of
way
course.
back,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. Yeah. A long time ago.
it was a really good show, and it wasn't the Cosbys
No,
by a
no,
long shot.
no. Cosby was the Cosby's. That's the only show. Even I remember Flip Wilson back in the day.
Mhm,
He talked about we didn't talk about. He and Gladys Knight had a show that
mhm,
CBS was trying to give some competition to the Cosby Show, and so they decided to put Flip Wilson out there because Flip Wilson was a contemporary of Cosby's back in the
right.
day. If you all have ever seen Uptown Saturday Night, which we'll probably discuss at another time,
Yeah, we
but
need to.
yeah, he had a cameo in there as the preacher. Also in Uptown Saturday Night, you had Sharp Eye Washington, steady on the case, steady on the case, better known as Richard Pryor, who is also in Harlem Nights.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, Richard Pryor was at the point where his illness had begun to take hold. He didn't have a lot of the energy that he used to have back when he was doing a lot of stuff like
Yeah.
that. But
And
Eddie
I
kept
think
him
that
in
showed
there.
in I think that showed in a few scenes
It did. It
as
did.
I was
It really
watching.
did. But
Mhm.
you know what? He was still hilarious.
Mhm.
Now, here's a fact. Eddie Murphy, and some people were upset when they heard this. Eddie made Richard Pryor and Red Fox stick to the script. Now, being comedians, comedians will take something and run with it. And sometimes they make it better and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
probably because Eddie, he's the main character. So he's in front of the camera as well as behind the camera. He probably couldn't afford to be doing all these takes
Right.
of 100 takes of these different little remarks and comments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of people were upset about that. But I think the end product was actually good.
Mhm.
That's what I think. I think it's
Yeah.
a classic for a reason.
And I think it was important, especially for Richard Pryor's part, because he
Yeah.
had to play straight.
Yeah. He
He
played
had
a
to play
straight,
straight.
a straight laced
He
character, more
was,
or less.
yeah, he was the dad. He had to be the
Yeah.
voice of reason throughout the
Sure
whole thing.
was. Sure
So,
was.
can you imagine if he started cracking jokes in the middle of the whole situation?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't
Yeah. He
have him
also had
singing.
Ronaldo Ray. Did we mention Ronaldo? I think we may have mentioned Ronaldo Ray. But
You
he was
mentioned,
in there. A lot of people know him as Red's father from that one little black and white flashback scene in Friday. Wood bike. He's like,
see,
you
I'd
want
have
some
to
of
go
this
back.
too, man?
I haven't seen
No.
Friday in forever. I'd have to go back. I don't
What?
retain these details. I'd have to go back and watch it again. But I know who
Friday
Ronaldo
is a classic.
is.
Yeah, yeah. Ronaldo Ray is something else.
Mhm.
Something else. So anyway, I'm surprised. I guess it wasn't Bernie Mac's time yet, but it would have been kind of awesome had he been in there.
Oh my
But it
god.
was what it was. But and we can get off into
We
this
gonna have
on another
we gonna
one.
have to do Bernie Mac.
Yeah,
We
uh,
just gonna have to do Bernie
Bernie
Mac.
Mac. Bernie Mac got a chance to show his stuff in a very small role in Life, which starred Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. And to be honest, and just to jump on this just for a second, he kept them cracking up. He kept them in stitches. Now, Eddie Murphy was not the director of that movie. Of course, we already said that Harlem Nights is the only one he directed.
Mhm.
But there are multiple takes of Bernie Mac doing what Bernie Mac does. So, for instance, they had some outtakes at the end of that movie, and he
Mhm.
says, yeah, because if one of y'all country bastards, blah blah blah, take some of my cornbread, part two of my killing spree, it's gonna be consequences, repercussions. And Bernie Mac say, because remember you had that one squinty eye?
Mhm.
Watch repercussion.
Let me tell you,
Oh, yeah.
that right there is my
Yeah.
favorite movie. Thanksgiving,
Man.
I was the one at the table talking about you gonna eat your
Okay.
cornbread. That was me. After that
Maybe I just eat your cornbread. Hey. Eddie Murphy, I'm gonna tell you this. We can laugh about Eddie Murphy and talk about how he had a pattern. In the 80s, he was gold because
Mhm.
in the 80s you had a lot of action stars. You had Stallone, all right. Who else did you have? Like real big stars and stuff. You had Schwarzenegger. Those
Yeah,
two were going back and
back
forth
and forth.
when
They
it
had
came to that.
popped.
Then late in the 80s, Bruce Willis entered the fray and became an everyman when he did
Mhm.
Die Hard. He had all of this stuff going on, and then you had Eddie Murphy.
Right.
Sadly, a lot of time there's only room for one at the top, and then they might have one that's in competition or whatever like that. But Eddie Murphy was that one. The thing that I appreciate about Eddie Murphy is that he kept it black. Now, some people may like some of the stuff he did, they may not like some of the stuff he did like that, but overall, Eddie Murphy tended to reach back. He
Mhm.
tended to reach out. He tended to pull people in who were, and not just black comedians and black actors, people of all races, but he focused on black folks. And I have to give that to him because a lot of folks get up there and they forget
Yeah.
and they just kind of go by the wayside. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So again, Harlem Nights is like a time capsule. Think of all of the black star power
Yeah.
that's in that movie. I'm gonna tell you somebody else who's in it, and I can't remember the act. Okay, so lady actors are not always called actresses anymore. Nowadays, we just call them actors,
Hmm.
unless you're trying to denote that this was a female actor. But the lady who played Jenny I was about to say Sanford and Son, and that the one with Sherman Hemsley and
Yeah.
Wheezy.
Yes. I was
Yeah,
trying
George
to
and
place her
Wheezy.
face. I couldn't remember. I
Well,
could
we're
not.
moving on up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, hmm
I'm
she
looking
was,
her up now.
yeah, she was Richard Pryor's lady in that movie, and she was gorgeous. I'm not gonna even
Hmm.
lie with that sultry voice. And I think that I want to say that may have been the last time I saw her in a prominent role. I don't remember really seeing her in anything
Not
after that.
Berlinda Tolbert.
That's her.
Okay.
That's her. Yep, that's her. Yeah, man. Yeah, because she was like, how about we make love all night and
Hmm.
then all morning? And he said, how about we like really make love for like a good 30 minutes and then fall off into a deep coma like sleep. And that's one of the scenes where you can see that his energy really wasn't there. And like you say, he's playing a straight man, which Richard Pryor hardly ever played the straight man. It would
Mhm.
happen every now and again. He hardly ever played the straight man.
But
And
even in this, that was
uh-huh.
balanced. He had funny moments, but it
Yes,
wasn't his role wasn't so non-comedic that you were like, "Oh, this is unrealistic.
yes,
This isn't
yes.
Richard Pryor." He still had some
Uh-huh.
levity to his role,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
so it was
I
good.
tell you this too. One of the things that Eddie got really good. The costume design in this movie was awesome because, as you know, it's a period piece.
I was about to
And
say that. Mhm.
man, listen, I'm gonna tell you this. When Coming to America came out, the first one,
Mhm.
when Coming to America came out, everybody was amazed. I know I was at the costume design and stuff. This one, oh my goodness, man!
They
Like the
got the
wide
time.
lapels and the fedoras, the
Yeah.
Borsalino hats, and the
The
spats,
whole
and oh
time,
my goodness.
the whole not just costume, but even the look of the era.
Yes,
They worked in a lot of details, historical detail, how
yes,
the mob
yes,
operated, who they were
yes.
taking money, all of that into a
Yep.
whole fictional thing. They worked it
Yeah.
in nicely. And as I was watching it, there's another movie. I forget the title. I've seen it before and I forget the title. I want to say it was it Mobs of New York? I can't think of the title. But
Gangs of New York.
was it Mobs in New York? I don't think it was New York. I think it actually took place in Chicago. But it
Okay.
was talking about number running and
Okay.
basically how they took the numbers running business and turned it into the lottery.
Yeah, they surely did. They
Basically,
really.
I forget. I think I
Yeah.
want to say Lawrence Fishburne was in it. I don't know why
Oh,
that's.
you talking about Hoodlum?
Thank you. That
Yeah,
movie.
talking about Hoodlum. It
Yeah.
it was Hoodlum took place. The story took place in New York
Hmm.
because it was about Bumpy Johnson, but it was actually filmed in Chicago. So you do have that part right. A
Okay.
lot of times, Chicago is used as a
New
backdrop
York. New York.
for New York. Yeah,
All
sometimes,
right.
and it's cheaper to film there. Now that the first mayor Daley is long gone, they lifted the ban because he was like one of the last boss mayors, as they would call him, who would run a city,
Mm.
and he notoriously would not allow filming for movies or TV shows in Chicago. And I remember as a kid when he died, because he died
Hmm.
at his doctor's office, and
Wow.
very shortly thereafter, the
It
Blues
opened
Brothers
up.
came in, and I want to say, Burt Reynolds filmed Sharky's Machine there in Chicago, and it was a big deal. There was a stunt where this car jumps out of one of the Marina Towers and falls into the Chicago River. Really big deal.
Okay.
So yeah, so Chicago a lot of time is used as a backdrop
Yeah.
for New York, especially if they want to use like New York from back in the day for
Hmm.
whatever reason.
Yeah. But it
Yeah.
just put me in mind, just the whole time period and
Yes.
content kind of put
Yeah.
me back in that that frame of mind, like, okay, this is
Oh
when
yeah.
it took place, this is what it's
Oh
all
yeah.
about. And
Oh yeah.
so
Yeah.
even down to the whole story, it's like, okay, this makes sense because yeah, that's what the world was about. You know,
Yeah.
you had front for your business, and this is what you were doing in the background.
That's it. Let me ask you this:
Hmm.
who do you think was who had the funniest scene in the movie? Who was the one character that was the funniest in the entire movie?
The funniest.
You're gonna forget about this. You just I want to know what you think, and I'm gonna tell you who it is.
You know, I when I was watching it, I forgot about that opening scene with the little boy and the guy with the missing teeth.
Yeah, and he used to be in a lot of Richard Pryor movies too. I know he's in Brewster's Millions and some other
Hmm.
stuff too. Go ahead.
So that was one scene where I was like, oh, dang. So
Yeah, that
that
was funny.
that was one. Of course, the classic scene with the fight. Those are the
Yeah,
two that come to
come out
mind
the boxing scene.
with Vera and Eddie.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
That
I know,
entire
and that's
scene.
funny because Buster Rhymes did Pastor Cavassier parts
Uh-huh.
1 and 2, and he had a scene where he and Monique were out in the doggone in the alley, and you had Split Star with those thick glasses and that oversized suit. He said, "You
Yeah.
better handle that beer mountain," and they were stomping on each other's feet.
But even
Oh my
that,
goodness,
you look at how this
that
movie
was
has
funny too.
affected other
Yeah,
areas.
yeah, pop culture. Yeah, big time.
Mhm.
But I'm going to tell you who the funniest character was, and I don't even know the character's name. I know who the actor is though.
Who?
Arsenio Hall. That
When
one
he
little
was
scene that
crying,
he had. Oh my
when he
God.
was
I'm
bawling,
sorry. Yeah.
the chase scene, the whole chase scene, I was like, how ridiculous are they?
You broke my nose, man. Oh my goodness.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
when they're all standing there shooting and he turns around, he goes,
Stop shooting
"Why
that
are you
little shit.
shooting at?"
Stop shooting that little shit.
Oh, and then in the end, when they're sitting there with these Tommy guns losing their minds, and Eddie jumps up and bang, 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 and then drops
Yep.
back down, and he
Kills
doesn't hear
all of
anything.
them. Kills all of them with one shot each. Yep.
I'm
One
like,
shot each.
you know what? That right there, that's comedy. That's
And
comedy.
I'm gonna
They
tell
did
you
all
this.
that work.
Yeah, I love Arsenio and Coming to America, the very first one.
Hmm.
Hilarious as Semi, but
Hmm.
maybe because he's playing more of a straight man in that.
Yeah.
Uh, I man, that little 5 minutes or whatever, if it was even 5 minutes that he was in Harlem Nights,
Right.
hilarious, hilarious. And what was the last word he said after he had been shot, but he hadn't died yet? And he was like, "Asshole," he
Yeah.
just died.
Yeah. I'm like, really? Seriously?
Yeah, man, that
uh,
was the
yeah.
funniest character
But
in the
they
movie.
play well off of each other.
They do. They really really do. They really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hey, I got to give it to him because Arsenio was he had the Arsenio Hall show and he
Hmm.
was riding the top at that time. Now he would
Hmm.
have Eddie on there every time he could and like that. But yeah, man, that
Hmm.
it was really a great time. It was a
Right.
really great time.
Right. And
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
made that work. They really made that work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So let me ask you this.
Hmm.
Is this movie a classic for a reason, or does it just kind of get by just on nostalgia alone? Is there a reason why even still this movie would be considered a great movie, or is it just not as great as people would think? What do you think?
No, I think it's like you said in the beginning. I think it's a classic
Uh-huh.
because Eddie caught lightning in a bottle, whether
Yes, I
he
agree.
played chess and said, "You know what? These are our greats. Let me get them all together
Yep.
in one place."
Yes.
Or
Yes.
he just said,
Yes.
"These are my teachers. Let me gather them and
Yeah.
work with them before it's too
Yes.
late," kind of situation.
Yes.
He did a
Uh-huh.
thing. He did a
He
thing and
did a
put it
thing.
together, and it's not very often that you can do that. it's kind of like, you mentioned Uptown Saturday Night. It's like
Uh-huh.
you have people who have gone on to have great careers, like
Uh-huh.
I'm saying Eddie Murphy again, like Bill
Uh-huh.
Cosby and Sidney Poitier. You get greatness in one space and they do
Uh-huh.
great things, and you have it recorded. It's like you can't miss. We
Uh-huh.
we have that, you know, it's there. It's there.
Yeah. But it
And
doesn't always work in every movie though.
it
Not
doesn't it
every.
doesn't work in
Yeah.
every movie, but when it
Yeah.
does,
Yeah.
it's like you can't help but go, "Okay, yes, winner." And
Yes.
that's what
Yes.
this movie
Yes.
is. That's what it was.
Indeed. I
Well,
agree.
it was well put together,
I
well
agree.
produced for
Yes.
its time,
Yes.
and because it's a period piece, you don't have to worry about, "Oh, wow, we don't do that anymore, do we?" It's just fun, laid back watch.
Yes. Yes. And
It's
I,
perfection.
I even I even love Danny Aiello's portrayal of Sergeant Cantone. And I'm gonna tell you, you know what?
Yeah.
The way that this movie, and may he rest in peace also, because he's gone
Mhm.
from us, but uh this movie nabbed so much spotlight and became, and it's not one of Eddie Murphy's bigger hits either. It's not one of those that's like really like it was a box office
Right.
smash, or whatever like that. But it was it's definitely something that we can look back on.
Yeah.
Um, just to show you how this movie has become part of pop culture. You got Sunshine and what she was doing
Mhm.
with oh boy, with Richie Vento.
Right.
And you remember when she gave him the line talking about
I think I'm falling in love with you too.
oh my god, yo, what did my man do?
He got on the
Hey,
phone, was like,
hey,
"Put your mother
baby.
on the
Hey,
phone."
baby. It's daddy. Put mommy on the phone. Yeah. He's like, hey, Barbara. Yeah, this is Richie. I ain't never coming home. Take it easy.
I was like, "Dang, really? Bypass the kid, really?"
Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
And then
Yeah,
what did
man.
he end up with?
Yeah.
A bag full of sugar.
He said, just because your name is Lady Heron, don't mean you have to be dealing with it.
Oh my
He
goodness.
was up for his own good, man.
That
And
was too.
Danny Aiello's son was in the movie too. A lot of people don't
Oh,
know that.
really?
He's an actor, but he's also a stunt man. He used to do a lot of stunts for his dad.
Mhm.
Uh, the guys who were sitting at the bar with
Mhm.
Richie,
Yeah.
and they see Sunshine down there just staring at them and like that. He's like, I wonder if she'll take us all on or whatever like that. He was one of the guys sitting at the bar. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay. That
yeah,
scene
man.
had me cracking up because I was like,
Right?
it's again keeping in the style of
Yes,
movies of that time,
yes, yes.
whatnot. The way she came sliding
Oh my
over,
goodness,
I was like, it's so over
exaggerated,
the top,
big time,
but it's
big time.
perfect.
Yeah,
It was hilarious, and she was
yes,
like, "Do you want to be my friend?" I was like, "How much
man.
more Marilyn Monroe could you get?"
I wanted to be her friend. Matter of fact, it were a lot of
Everyone
guys who
wanted to
wanted
be
to
her
be
friend, didn't they?
Sunshine's friend. Yeah.
Everyone wanted to be her friend. Oh my gosh. No, but that was great. And again, a lot of careers were built from that.
Yes.
I think one
Yes.
of the things that I love best is
Uh huh.
seeing the way careers evolve, because Eddie, like you said, Eddie in that time was
Uh
like,
huh.
hey, everybody else can be the action hero. I'm going to be the comedian and do comedic roles.
He
But
did
he
it too.
didn't
He
stay
did it.
there. He
Yeah.
didn't stay there. He went on to do dramatic stuff down the line, and we can talk about some of those
He
things
did.
later
Like
on.
Mr. Church and stuff like that. Yeah.
And as far as being a dramatic actor, people may disagree, but I think he nailed those roles. We can talk
I
about
tell you,
what people thought
yeah.
was problematic later on.
Boomerang. I mean, Boomerang is awesome. Not Boomerang. I'm thinking about oh my goodness, Dreamgirls. When he
Mm.
played, when he played Jimmy Early.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. And he was actually up for an Oscar for that.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't get it. And I remember he was very upset. And a lot of people was like, what did he think? They think he was gonna get it, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna tell you this. Eddie
Look,
Murphy is a national treasure.
don't sneeze at a nomination.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
big deal.
exactly. Yeah. Eddie Murphy is a national treasure. And I love the dude. I'm not gonna say I liked everything he did. You know, not every movie he did was great. Metro wasn't a classic. The
Mm-hmm.
Distinguished Gentleman is something you forget about. Haunted Mansion is something you probably wish that you never saw, or whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the deal: Michael Jordan is not known as one of, if not the greatest basketball player alive, not because he hit all of those. He did all the dunks and all that other stuff like that, hit 3-pointers and all this other. He's not just great because of that. What made him great is that if you look at all the times that he missed, all the failures that he had, the teams that he got cut from, and stuff like that before he became the great Michael Jordan that we know of. Same thing with Eddie Murphy, because I know for a while, Eddie would put out a movie that was like whack, like maybe like it was an okay movie, then the next movie would be kind of whack.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple years later, 2-3 years later, he put out something that would be like, oh, it's Eddie Murphy's comeback.
Yeah.
And then he will go back into this cycle again, because everything that you do cannot be a hit. It's not going to always be a hit, because you got like the Adventures of Pluto Nash, which I think he wishes he would have never even made. But it just goes to show longevity is that. It's a marathon. It's not just a race.
Mm-hmm.
It's a marathon. And he's been a marathon runner and is still running it. I know that on our show, we talked about coming to the number 2 America,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, and whether or not it was worthy of being considered a classic or not. Well, time will tell. And it was a different movie than the first movie like this, but just the fact that he had the clout to even bring that out, that says a lot. Vampire in Brooklyn, probably not his greatest film or whatever like that. It's funny though, because he looked like Ashford, Nick Ashford from Ashford and Simpson, running around with the long Jerry curl and stuff like that. He played Preacher Paulie and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not as memorable as some of his greater things, like Trading Places, like 48 Hours and stuff like that. Not as iconic as those, but everything that you're going to do is not going to be a hit.
Mm-hmm.
This, I believe, was a hit. Whether or not it got all the box office it should have gotten, whether or not people got it at the time or not, this movie was a classic. It was and is a classic. It was instant vintage, and now it's classic. I think it's classic for a reason. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I think it is. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
cool.
30 years from now, people will be like, yeah.
I think so too. I think it'll still, I think it will still get that type of respect. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
So check this out, folks. Why don't you all put in the comments what you think about Harlem Nights? What do you think about Eddie Murphy's body of work? Share it with us. And if you ever get a chance, if you're on Facebook, join us on Facebook. We have a group called what, Nikkei?
Movies That Move. And
then on Clubhouse,
I was saying, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you can keep up
with
channel,
please.
Every time we post.
Yep. Check us out on Facebook, but also on Clubhouse. We have a club called what?
Movies That Move.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So very easy to find, easy to catch up with us and all that other stuff. But thank you all for watching. Give us a like. It means a lot. Subscribe. It means even more. Tell some people about us. Share our videos if you don't mind. Yeah. And we'll keep the content coming. Yeah.
All right. Until next time, everybody.
Until next time. Take care.